on the way here. And just walk that 1 mile loop. Just get a couple thousand steps in. When I got back to my car and there was a frog stuck on the side of it, like he had hopped up there and he's just sitting, like
stuck on your car?
Stuck to the door. And I'm like, oh man, car almost got towed.
Car almost got towed. Rolling, we got that joke?
Rocking and rolling.
Nice.
Dad jokes galore.
What time did we get up this morning?
3:15.
And you went to the gym and trained
Yep.
first, then did cardio.
Yep.
So you were lifting at 4.
Yeah. Yeah, a little after 4.
How was the workout?
It was good. Man, I woke up feeling freaking stellar this morning. I had solid sleep. I didn't wake up once. I took Jay Shane's sleep, I forget what it's called. This is Sleep Sup.
Yeah. Pure sleep or something like that.
I forget what it's called. Sorry, Jay Shane.
Sorry, Jay.
I literally just posted about it this morning. But I took a scoop of that last night, and I usually try to kind of wind down around 8 o'clock, which is early, but I get up at 3. So I got solid sleep. My alarm went off at 3:15, and before it even like chirped for more than 2 seconds, I was turning it off, and I just stood right up, got out of bed, and I just rocked and rolled. Then I had a cup of coffee, just a little bit of chocolate Redmond Relight in there, nothing with much caloric load, then go to the gym. But it was a solid workout.
Good.
Yeah, it was good.
You did full body?
Full body, yep. Then stairs, and then I walked.
You and I are on opposite sleep patterns right now. I set my alarm for 5, which is late for me. I normally wake up to go with you. And I slept through my alarm, woke up at like 5:24, and then came here and worked out. But I went to bed. It wasn't too terribly late, probably like 9:30 or so. But
that's because you had a weekend.
I had a weekend for sure. My sleep was definitely disrupted with the baby coming.
Tell us about your weekend.
Well, Crystal and I probably do like a full-blown in-depth podcast summarizing all of the events, but high level, basically she went into labor on the 4th of July. We went to the hospital, and then we got there at 11:05 on the 4th. We're like, man, we might have a 4th of July baby. But she was in labor for like 4.5 hours at the hospital, and then he was born at 3:30 in the morning on Saturday. And then we now have a happy, healthy Hazen. She did it totally unmedicated, naturally. Pretty awesome. Pretty proud of her.
Congrats. That's pretty exciting.
He was 9 pounds, 7.4 ounces. Pretty good little boy.
Yeah.
I think Rigel was like 8'14" or something like that.
That's good size.
So pretty healthy little munchkin.
Rigel's excited?
Yeah, Rigel's stoked. He, it's kind of weird because like he understood that there was a baby coming, that he was going to have a brother. But I don't know, like you try to make that very smooth transition for him because you don't want them to feel like, left out or unnoticed or whatnot. So we try to like do all this stuff to set ourselves up for success. Like we bought him a few toys that we said Hazen had gotten for him, and he, gave those to him. But I think it's still gonna be a little bit of a transition. He's being great. Like he's like trying to help and all this stuff. But like last night, for instance, I put him on the side of the bed to sleep with him, and he wanted to snuggle with mom, but she was feeding Hazen, and like mom needs her space, so you guys sit over here. It's like just like little things like that's gonna be hard for him.
Well, when he's used to, I just cannot get these arms in the right spot. When he's used to being the sole recipient of all mom and dad's attention, and now this new little dude pops in.
I know.
So that'll be a huge adjustment for him. But if he likes to give the baby attention too.
Yeah, it should be good. I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm just excited about everything. Like I'm pretty proud of Crystal. She was a freaking warrior throughout the 12 hours labor, but especially those 4.5 hours pushing hard. I mean, she had all kinds of veins popping out of her. I'm sure,
but
chest.
she lifts a lot.
Yeah.
Like she's hardcore into training, so that's got to be so much.
She probably could have hit a new state PR deadlift record that night for sure.
But that's got to help with all that pushing and all that muscle contraction and all the whole just full body.
Yeah. No, it's I can't imagine doing that being very unhealthy. And like a lot of the babies that are that size, they're worried about them having had gestational diabetes, and like he was so big that they had to test his blood sugar 3 times to make sure that wasn't the case. But every time they tested it, it was like perfect. The nurse kept complimenting on how healthy the umbilical cord and placenta looked. and like how well she did. And it's like, it's because she trains for hard things.
Yeah.
And then when she's faced with hard things like this, her body rises to the occasion.
And she eats real food. She doesn't eat standard American diet.
Which is not what they serve at the hospital.
Which is funny because the nurses and medical staff commenting on how certain things look healthy or maybe abnormal or not common.
Yeah.
Until you tell them, yeah, well, I've been keto or carnivore. I eat, red meat every single day. And then they're like, oh, wait, what, really?
Yeah. She did hemorrhage, lost a lot of blood. And they're like, make sure you get a bunch of iron in, and red meat. And I'm like, no problem. So yeah, we got all that dialed in for sure.
Yeah, the food at hospitals and public facilities in general.
It also just pisses me off, man. It just like, we have such a, this is speaking to the choir. Everybody that's listening to this is on the same page as us, but it's like, it's such a broken system because it's just junk in, junk out. Like if you only have terrible ingredients to make the food that you're feeding the sick people, what's the likelihood of them getting better? Long term, especially, and it's just like not there. So, you would think that they would, I would love to see a world in which the hospitals were like, okay, we're going to be having like the best, creme de la creme stuff served so that we can set these people up for success. But that's just not the reality. That's not what happened. That is not what is happening in the schools where you've got people that are on a negative trajectory health-wise starting at a young age. It's like, it's just a broken system. It's
ass backwards, big time. The nutrition should be a foundational core component of getting healthy in a medical facility.
Yeah.
Like if that's not dialed in, then what are you? Yeah.
And I know everybody, points the finger at the cost of quality food, but it's like, look at the cost of healthcare. Like if that was the case, look at the things they're doing in schools, taking the healthcare out of the equation. It's like, if they're there to learn, they would be so much more receptive to paying attention and focusing if they were nourished throughout the day, as opposed to coming back from the lunch hour, having eaten cheese fries, and then just crashing at their 1 p.m. classes. Like
and ADHD,
what they're trying to do on a macro level, whether it be education or healthcare, it's like you're defeating the purpose. Like you're shooting yourself in the foot.
They're playing tug of war with themselves.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But that's a huge rabbit hole.
That could be quite the podcast.
Yeah, that's definitely.
But yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm gonna do a full blown podcast with Crystal on this because she's got all kinds of details from her perspective. But we had a great team. Our doula was a freaking rock star. She was super supportive. Our midwife was a rock star. The doctors never even came to the room. Like we did everything how we wanted to do it, to our specs, with full support of our team. And that, I think, for Crystal was really redemptive because everything went totally counter to our plan with Rigel. So her being able to have a natural birth as she wanted, unmedicated, successfully, like I'm happy for her because now she's able to like just have that confidence in herself and her ability.
Because you'll never be able to go back and redo it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
awesome.
Pretty cool. And I tell you, man, having a kid is one of the coolest things. Like, I've done the competitions, I've spoken at many conferences, I've traveled all over the place. Like I feel like I'm accomplishing a lot, but being a father, and you haven't had this happen to you yet, but it's pretty freaking awesome, man. Like it totally changes things, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I don't even know how to have the words for it, honestly.
I've got a lot of my buddies have kids, and they say the same thing. You never really realize what it's like to be a dad until you're a dad. So
yeah, it's just interesting having a being 100% totally completely reliant on you. Like it just changes the way you think about everything you do in life. And I feel like if you're like you or I, who are already very, proactive with our health and our nutrition, our routines, and like our structure, like everything we already do is done because it serves us well. Like we're setting ourselves up for success. We don't do things that are a hindrance to our other goals. But when you have a kid and they're like 100% reliant upon you, you really look through the looking glass and you just analyze your life on a whole nother level. And you're like, okay, I can't justify selfishly doing anything anymore. So what is truly serving me in life and what is not, and anything that is not, you are just willingly wanting to strip away.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Yep.
It definitely provides clarity for sure.
Well, I think people could stand to do that with or without children.
For sure.
It's like things that aren't helping you in any way, cut them out.
Yeah.
You know, thin your herd, shorten your circle, or shrink your circle. Yeah. Shrink your circle. It's
all kinds of tongue twisters. Shrink your circle.
Shrink your circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 100%, man, it's pretty cool. I'm excited for y'all to meet the little guy.
Yeah.
He's a little.
You gonna bring him in one of these days?
Yeah. I mean, I think Crystal needs to stay pretty horizontal for the next week.
Yep. Possibly
2. And then just like she'll start moving more and more and more. But as soon as she feels up to it, her sister leaves tomorrow. My folks come in on Wednesday. Not sure how long my mom's going to stay. Her dad comes in next Tuesday.
Okay, so you got some helpers that'll be hanging around.
So I'm sure when her dad's in, they'll probably come up to the compound for sure. Because he'll want to see the place, and she'll probably be feeling pretty good at that point. So y'all can all meet her next week, which should be the week after your first competition.
Yes.
Talk about that. Today's peak week.
This
week is peak week.
Yeah. Do you consider peak week starting on Sunday or Monday? I usually think of it kind of like Sunday, because it's Sunday through Saturday typically.
I think anybody that starts their week on Sunday is just weird.
It is super weird. But I feel like peak week isn't necessarily a Sunday to Saturday or a Monday through Sunday, like a week. It's more of just the week prior to. So it's not necessarily a calendar week.
You might not be depleted, are you?
Yeah, I'm a little hungry. I haven't eaten yet today, so so I started peak week officially yesterday, I suppose. Today, meal prepped for several days yesterday. Got things dialed in. Kind of just you got to mentally check the boxes on your checklist and figure out what you need to prep, what you need to do, how the week's going to go, what you're doing for training, what you're doing for nutrition, what you're doing for posing, what you're doing for all the things.
It'd be good.
Yep.
So you haven't changed anything with regards to your training up to this point?
No.
By the time people listen to this, it'll be Friday, so obviously we'll have by then.
Yeah, it'll titrate down Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
So Monday, Tuesday are going to be status quo, same old, same old.
Full body, yep.
And then Wednesday, probably operating at 70% intensity.
I'll just maybe do a little bit more volume, a little bit less intensity. Just
get a pump.
I'm not trying to go to failure. Yeah.
And then Thursday, probably like
40%,
50% maybe. And then Friday is like body weights, bands, maybe some light cable, pumping stuff, just posing.
Blood flow. Yep.
Yeah. And then you're leaving on Wednesday, driving 4.5 hours?
It's about 6 to Des Moines, Iowa. That's where I'm going to just hang out for the night, crash at a hotel. It's a little over halfway to Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
And
then Thursday morning, I've got 4 hours, hop in the car, I'll drive the remaining. Kind of just check things out, get settled into the hotel. That's Thursday. Registration, tanning, photo shoot, all the good stuff on Friday. I think my photo shoot is like 9 or 10 a.m. Friday. So I'll do that. Probably have a little bit of my macros before that on Friday.
I'm excited to see you all tanned, because you're going to do your refeed meal after your tanning.
Yep.
So we're going to get those pre and post refeed pics with tan on.
Yep.
So we'll really be able to get a good idea of what you're going to look like the following day.
Yep. And they just emailed out the order of events. So all the pros are going first in the morning, which is typically how it runs. They're going to do a running format. So they're going to have all the quarter turns, comparison rounds. Then I think they'll throw them all backstage. They'll come out individually, do their routines. Then they'll throw them all backstage again. Then they'll do judging and awards. Then they'll move to the next class. So, which is nice because there's no pre-judging morning portion and then evening awards portion. So like when you're off stage after, you're done for the day in that class. If you have more classes, you may. So all the pros will go first, and then they do an intermission when they have the kids up on stage. They do a little fun flex off kind of thing, and then I think I'm in the first class after intermission, which is like 2:00. So I'll be hungry, but I'll probably be feeling pretty good because I'll be chowing on some Keto Brick all the way up until stage time. Yeah,
I'm thinking, so if you have your refeed meal in pretty late evening, Friday.
9, 10 o'clock?
9, 10 o'clock.
Then hit the hay?
Hit the hay. What time do you think you'll wake up on Saturday?
I naturally wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock on the weekends anyways.
Yeah. When's the competitor meeting?
Like 9:20, 9:30, somewhere in there.
Okay. I mean, I would, try and sleep in if you can, because if you're able to sleep in, which is hard when you're like day before the show, like
I probably won't even get decent sleep in.
Probably not. But if you can, there's no reason to get up early with you're getting on stage so late, because you probably will flush out. The longer you're able to sleep, the more, water you'll be able to flush out by way of just inflammation and stress and whatnot. So like capitalizing on sleep, but you don't want to go to bed super early and force that refeed so early because your showing is later in the day on Saturday.
Right.
So you might just eat that meal, take some of Jay Shane's sleep stuff, and then not set any alarms, and then just, don't sleep through the competitive meeting.
Well, I've got a buddy staying in the room with me.
Okay,
so yeah. So we'll be up late telling jokes and
Yeah, well, definitely get some sleep, man. Yeah. Yep. Get you some of those eyeglass blocking things.
Well, I got a sleep app on my phone. I've got a little fan that I usually bring and sleep with. Plus, typically I like to crank the AC way cold and then throw on like sweatpants, hoodie, just try to stay warm. I don't want to sweat at all. So,
speaking of that, now that Hazen was home for the first time last night, and Crystal had to adjust the thermostat up because he's just an infant. So like I normally have it set at 64. I would have it set at 53 if she'd let me, but 64 is normal. And now that we have him, she has it set at like 69, which to me is just. And I got Rigel laying on me. I got her and him on the other side of me. Like I woke up sweating last night. So I'm 100% going to be investing in one of those like temperature controlled mattresses. Oh yeah. Because my mattress is over a decade old anyway. So like that will be the next thing we get from a mattress standpoint.
I'm usually a cold sleeper, 60s, mid to low 60s. But now deep in this prep, my thermostat is set to 75.
Yeah.
Like my AC just barely even kicks on. My dogs wake up panting and they're like trying to find somewhere cold to go lay down, so they go lay on the bathroom floor.
It is crazy how like your temperature changes when you're depleted. I mean, your metabolism slows down. You don't have as much body fat. You're not having those metabolic boosts post meal. You're not eating that much protein, so like you're not getting the meat sweats. So you're just
I'm not insulated. This morning I woke up at let me see, on my in body, putting me at my lowest weight, which is good. That's on par. 193.8.
193.8.
And back in January, let's see where we were at. Back in January, I had weights, actually before January, back in September of last year, I was 230-ish, low 230s.
Yeah, so what is that total weight?
This is 35 pounds-ish, 35 pounds. Plus or minus.
35 pounds is a lot, man. I was thinking about that yesterday as I was driving. It's like, okay, if you and I are both going to compete in 2027, what weight should I try and stay at in my building phase? And I feel pretty good about now 180, because that would be 20 to 25 pounds that I would have to cut to be competitive. And I've had like the crazy extreme cuts where I lost 80 pounds in 12 weeks before, and
not ideal
at all. I feel like I'm a healthy weight right now at 180, but like, in January or December of last year, I was 200 or 199 or something like that. And I'm like, that's just too much. I was looking back at pictures, and when I did the 50-mile march last year, I was 191. And like, I just could tell from the photos that I was just carrying around a little too much weight. And it's like, you don't want to get any heavier than you need to. Right. But at the same time, it's weird because like the people that are always saying, you can eat whatever with keto, you're not going to gain any excess weight. I mean, you and I are like we're training every day. We're eating the highest quality foods we can. We're not eating junk food. But like when we allow ourselves to just eat ad libitum, we wind up heavier than we ideally should be from a composition standpoint.
I pushed mine like on purpose.
That's Crystal. We'll do a live call with her.
So she's on the podcast.
What's up, babe? You're on the podcast.
Oh, darn it. Just don't answer. I'm so sorry.
How are you? We're talking about you.
Oh, I'm good. And Hazen's good too.
Hazen's good? Good? Does he
Hi,
miss
Crystal.
Me?
Hey.
Are you okay? Everything's good, though?
Yeah, everything's good. I was going to make an appointment or two, but I wanted to know when you were available. So I will talk to you later.
Hey, we're going to do an in-person podcast with you when you heal up. And, I mean, maybe we could do that when your dad's here next week if we're able. You and I could just record a podcast about the experience.
Yep, totally.
All right. All the crew here wants to see Hazen as well.
Yeah, I bet.
So, I love you, babe.
All right, love you too.
Give him a kiss for me.
I will.
Bye-bye.
Is that him squeaking? Huh.
Yeah, he's been like
That's the first
squealing.
podcast he's ever been on.
I know. He's
Oh,
rocking
wow,
it.
look at that.
He's rocking it.
Famous.
Yeah, he'll be like, not even whining, but just like squealing a little bit, looking for milk and stuff. And then Rigel will be like, why is he whining? I'm like, just looking for food.
You got to tell him that he did that too when he was that age, I'm sure.
He'll be like, I don't like it when he whines. And I'll be like, I don't like it when you whine.
Yeah, now he knows.
Yeah, so maybe I can kind of
hilarious.
leverage that. Be like, you don't like it when he does this? I don't like it when you do that. So
Now
who
he
knows?
knows. Yep.
What were we talking about?
Oh, I was talking about off season. We got a little bit too fluffy, but I towards the end of mine, I was pushing the envelope calorically speaking. Just
Yeah.
I got a little bit. It was 4,000 plus 4,500 calories some days.
And see, I don't know, man. Like I was looking at all my in-body data, and that's it's kind of hard to really use in-body data on skeletal muscle and lean mass because it fluctuates based off of water and everything. But it showed my lean mass considerably higher when I was, at the 200-pound mark. But again, I'm holding more water. I'm eating more food. I've got more intestinal fluid as well. And I'm looking at my strength markers. I'm like, I don't think I was any stronger then than I am now. So like that doesn't make sense. I just have to lose more weight when I get that heavy. And Chip, he's always want me to go full blown bear mode and just like get as big as I can, which is appealing. I mean, I could totally tear up some meat and I would just eat all the same high quality stuff, but more of it. But man, I don't like looking at pictures of myself and just having a fat face. Like I don't like that.
Welcome to the never-ending world of body dysmorphia and judging yourself.
For sure.
You're never going to be big enough. You're never going to be lean enough. You're always going to be working to hit the next threshold. You're always going to be pushing the envelope. You're always going to be. That's the way of the world. Once you get into that little zone, you're in that zone.
Yeah, man. And there's pros and cons to it. Like now at 180, I feel like I look pretty healthy right now. But like I've got like a little bit of belly fat that like I can feel when my seatbelt's on, and it just like bothers me. I've still got visible abs, and I'm like anybody else, but I wish I had abs.
Exactly.
And
I was
I'm like,
say
man, that little bitty seatbelt, flap is just pissing me off.
It's crazy because I'm dialed in right now, and I know I'm not necessarily as lean as the InBody says at like 7.5%. I'm whatever, but as soon as I have my shirt off and I'm in the mirror, just kind of checking the status and things, looking for vascularity and muscle definition and all this different separation and everything. Every freaking time, the first thing I look at is that little pudge below my belly button, because that's always there. No matter how lean I get, there's always a little bit of loose skin right there, and that's just, I don't think it's ever going to go away. There's just no elasticity there. But that's like the first thing that draw my eyes, and I don't look at like, oh, shoulders look good, chest looks good, arms are looking better, face is leaning out, all the other positives. That's the first thing I zone in on, and it just kills your mentality.
And I've been thinking about this.
So I've been trying to like, Greg, stop, snap out of it. Don't look right there every single freaking time. Like look there last. Like appreciate how far you've come instead of the little bit that you can't quite get.
And I know like body dysmorphia is like a big hot topic, and like we as bodybuilders, it just comes with territory. Like you just have it, and it got me thinking because like it just weighs on me sometimes. Like it'll just be like I'll fixate on it, and then I'll get mad that I'm even thinking about it. Like I have so many other great things going on in life,
and the one
like just
thing,
having a freaking baby. I'm sitting at the hospital looking at my freaking flap on my belly, and I'm like, this is like not even in the stratosphere.
It's not even in the top 100 important things.
Yeah, so why am I even allocating any bandwidth towards it? But I think like the people that don't have any form of it have like this ignorance is bliss, mentality where like they just don't know otherwise. And I feel like a lot of people, like once you start lifting, once you start manipulating your nutrition, once you actually start actively changing your body composition by way of proactive lifestyle choices, you recognize that what you do and your inputs can dictate how you look. People that have no realization of them, that just think that they're genetically born with this body and that just is what it is, they may not like their body. They may like their body, but they don't think that they can act upon it. And for that reason, they just kind of, not all of them, but a lot of people just accept it as fact. And for that reason, they don't really have that dysmorphia. But So I was thinking, like, is this a good thing or a bad thing? It's kind of like tracking macros. You know, like macros can be a debilitating fixation that distract from other areas of your life. But if you're able to embrace it in a way that doesn't, that it just becomes normal and is a tool, you can use it and it's not a negative. It can be a negative for some, but if you like embrace it as a tool, then it no longer is. I feel like the same way towards body dysmorphia. Like, it's not necessarily a bad thing because it keeps me conscious of where I'm at. Like, I'm much more self-aware and I can just like get a pulse on my physique, what I'm doing nutritionally, what I'm doing in my lifestyle. I can kind of like take stock and inventory of what's happening and then know that I've got the tools in my arsenal to change it if I want to.
Right.
So that's key. You just got to like not get into the trap of the grass always being greener on the other side, which a lot of people in the bodybuilding space do. Like, they just always want to stay lean, or they always want to be in a perpetual bulk and never lean down. Like, you got to embrace each phase where it's at and then accept the outcomes of that phase.
Right.
You know?
Right. And kind of take a step back and look at it like, okay, you chose this. Like, you wanted to go through a prep, or you wanted to be able to eat more and lift heavier.
Yeah.
You just have to accept the fact that that's gonna influence different things. You're gonna look different, feel different, perform different.
Totally.
So yeah,
totally. Did you notice? So like, I'm 33, you're 44.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice? I've got 2 kids now, so I feel like I can say that I've got a dad bod, for better or worse. You know, because
you are a dad and you have a bod, so
yeah. So I have a dad bod.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty happy with my dad bod. It's definitely better than a lot of dad bods out there that have a beer belly. And
I don't think it meets the dad bod, quote unquote dad bod criteria.
Yeah. But did you notice that as you aged, like, because a lot of people that have the quintessential dad bod, they're like, my metabolism slowed down. I don't have the energy. You know, I've got a belly that just doesn't ever leave anymore. Like, did you ever notice things becoming harder to maintain as you got older? Or you feel like, you know, you just keep doing what you're doing and everything holds steady?
I can say no, that the age doesn't seem to be a factor for anything. But it's not fair to put me in the same category as a dad, because even being around someone with children, it's very stressful. It's unorganized. You might have the greatest plan in your brain for how the day is going to go, the week is going to go, your morning, your evening, your afternoon, where you're going to eat, what you're going to eat, how things are going to unfold. And it might all just go right out the window. So it affects your sleep, your eating, your stress, your ability to get workouts in, all the things that you would want to be able to control 100%, which I pretty much have the ability to do right now. You can't when you're a dad or an acting dad.
I feel like, talking about just midsection specifically, you know, that's going to be heavily influenced by amount of visceral fat, which is heavily influenced by stress and cortisol and sleep. So I feel like I can see how people that have all of that in disarray would be more prone to having, you know, more fat, especially around the midsection. But it's like, you know, I got a lot of stress. Like, the business puts a lot of stress on me.
Yeah, you have a ton of stress.
Yeah, so like, I really need to, like, when I was 10 years ago, when I was 23, I could like stay up all night, I train hard and heavy, sleep was an afterthought. Like, I had a lot of stressors, but like it seemed to not really impact me as much. Whereas now, like, it impacts me a lot more. Like, when I was at the hospital and didn't sleep at all Friday night, went to bed at 1:30 in the morning on Saturday or Sunday, like, I was wrecked for like the next 24 hours. Like, my sleep and circadian rhythm were all jacked up, and like, it was not good.
Because you're so used to your routine.
Yeah, because so I feel like all the lifestyle factors are more influential on how I feel now than they did 10 years ago. But I don't think that's an excuse. I feel like that's just motivation for me to make sure that all of my inputs are all the better and set up for success, you know?
And I think anybody can do that. Like,
Yeah.
you can fine tune your sleep, your evening routine. The majority of people doom scroll on their phone more than they realize.
Yeah.
Or watch TV more than they realize, or waste time doing random crap more than they realize. And if you just sit down and you're like, all right, I'm going to start hitting the gym 3 to 4 times a week. I'm going to watch what I eat, watch what I drink, not go out and have pizza and beer every Friday night with the buddies. Maybe dial back on the smoking, the alcohol, whatever. Like, you can leverage so many choices to undo a dad bod.
Yeah, for sure. One of which that I'm excited about is I just bought one of those AquaTru water purifiers that you have.
Did you get the same one with the glass carafe?
No, I messed up. So I bought the classic, which is, I think, a bigger reservoir, because I was thinking, okay, I got, you just have you drinking, and I've got me, Crystal, Rigel, now Hazen here soon. It's like I need more water. Plus, we're all making coffees and stuff. So I got that one because it had a bigger carafe.
Is that the one with like the spout on it? It doesn't have a removable pitcher.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then I realized that it's plastic. So then I messaged them back. Hey, can I switch this out for the glass one? Because I didn't realize this was plastic. Because I don't want to purify my water and then put it in a plastic reservoir. So hopefully they get back to me and they ship me the glass one. Because we have the Berkey here at the building, but I don't have anything at the house. So I want to get that dialed in. And then you got the Air Doctor thing too. So
I just got 2 of those. Holy cow. Those are...
You tell a difference?
Yeah, big time. It's funny, yesterday I was meal prepping and I threw in the pan, I just threw in some beef, sausage, I don't remember, butter or whatever, and it started to kind of smoke and sizzle a little bit, and I don't have an exhaust fan that pulls it out of my kitchen, just kind of recirculates through the microwave. And so I was just kind of shooting back into the kitchen, and my phone went off, and the Air Doctor kicked into turbo mode, and it said, hey, we just detected a huge amount of particulates in
so
the
automatically
air.
it
automatically kicks it on, like the status light on the front of the unit turns a different color, and it maximizes the airflow, turns it into turbo mode, and then you can watch it actually chart the graph, and it kept dropping, went from red to orange to green or blue or whatever, and it did its thing. So I've got a bigger unit in my main living space, which is larger because it's kitchen, living room, dining room all in one room. Then I've got a smaller unit up in my bedroom, and they just run 24/7.
Nice.
Yeah, I love it. So controlling the water controlling the air I'm breathing,
Yeah, so I'm going to get one of those for sure. And just like every little thing that you can do to like that's why we're relaunching the apparel. Like we'll talk more about the apparel as we get closer, but like we're setting that up so that it's all natural fibers, non-endocrine disrupting. Because you think about it, like the clothes you wear, like your skin absorbs all that stuff. So I just want to get that dialed in. I want to get the water I'm drinking dialed in, the air I'm breathing dialed in. I'd like to get like a sauna or cold plunge or something like that at the house. But I feel like now that I'm 33, those lifestyle factors are more impactful for better or worse. So I need to just like take more attention, like spend more time getting that dialed in because I don't want it to hinder me at all, And I think the challenge with that is like when I am traveling, when I am gone, like I don't want not having that to be a massive hiccup. But if the majority of your time is spent with everything dialed in, then you're good.
That's the key. Is like I think some people focus a little bit more into the wrong direction, and they want to start doing the cold plunging or the heat therapy or the infrared or the red light or all these different therapies, but they still eat like crap.
Yeah.
So once you get your eating dialed in, your training dialed in, I mean, those are really the foundational ones. You start adding the other little key components.
Stress. I need to get that one dialed
Stress,
in.
sleep, diet. Yep.
I think though my work stress, I think we're on the precipice of hopefully that declining a little bit because we got the best team we've ever had right now. We're trying to get way ahead on all the inventory so that we can basically purchase everything for the next 16 weeks of production, have it on site so we're not dealing with any last minute hurdles from the suppliers. That will remove, like that will probably be, like that single thing will probably reduce my stress levels by 50%.
I was going to say that's half your stress right there.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, man, your protein's not going to be there on time. Your packaging film is running behind. There's a hiccup with this or a hiccup with that, or cacao butter stuck in port. I mean, like all that.
Yeah, because then, like, not only am I worried about making enough bricks to pay for the invoices to get that stuff here in the first place, but then I'm also worried about like everybody else's hours. Like, okay, what can I pull up out of my butt to give all of our crew hours? So we're like, fixing leaks and painting stuff, random things and whatnot. It's like all of that stress could be wiped out if we have everything for the next 16 weeks of production on hand, which totally depletes all of our cash reservoirs. But
for now, temporarily.
Yeah, we'll get that dialed in and then we'll be able to just like execute. So I'm excited about that. And I think we're on the verge of getting that, being the case. And then what's funny, this is just the way I operate. So I'll have all the stressors from Keto Brick simmered down. And then what am I going to do? Rather than just coasting on that
let's
low
just
stress,
ramp up a new apparel line and run a competition.
Let's launch a few other businesses.
Yeah.
So I'm probably my own worst enemy when it comes to stress. But at the end of the day, man, like I think
you thrive on it.
Yeah, I think I for sure thrive on it. Like Crystal tells me this all the time. Like she just wants to chill for a little bit and not travel, stay at the house, work on the homestead, have me home and relax. And I'm like, all right, let's walk 4 hours a day to get prepared for this 50-mile march. I'm doing a competition next year. Let's have a baby. Let's launch 3 other businesses this year. All that stuff. But that's just how I operate.
You guys are like yin and yang.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of Keto Brick, flavor drop.
Yeah, so this podcast is going out on Friday. Yes. And then we're doing a launch on Sunday at 12 noon Central. We're going to be restocking Primal Fudge.
Big restock.
The biggest ever.
Double whatever we've ever restocked.
Yeah. And, I mean, just to cover all my bases, it is hot in Arkansas right now. And this tallow that we're using is on the softer side of the tallows that we've used. So it is almost practically guaranteed to melt on you. But with our new packaging, no issue, throw it in the fridge. And there shouldn't honestly even be any separation with this flavor because this has got so minimal ingredients that we're mixing together that people pop in the fridge. It should be fine.
Sure, there's no nut butter. There's no coconut flakes. There's nothing in it. It's very simple, straightforward.
So I'm excited about that.
Yep. I got Primal Fudge and Carnivore Cake Pop in my meal prep this week.
Have you eaten one from this latest production run?
I have not. I'll have a bite of one probably when we're done recording here.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword because like the softer tallow is definitely tricky in the hot temperatures. But man, pulling that out of the fridge and eating it, I mean, it's still totally stable at room temp.
So good out of the fridge.
But like with this, you can eat it directly out of the fridge. And it's like, it's perfect, man. That's how I prefer it now. Good. So I like
any
that.
of the tallow ones are good out of the fridge.
Yeah. Somebody emailed and they were asking, they're like, hey, I use these for hiking. And here in the summertime, they've been melting while I'm hiking. So what do I do to fix this?
Oh, man, just cut the corner off and squeeze it out.
Yeah, cut the corner, squeeze it out. Or like when I'm hiking, I've got those little like titanium really lightweight utensils. So I've got like a little fork, knife, spoon combo. So I'll cut the top of it off and like eat it like a pudding.
Oh, man.
And that's pretty freaking good,
I bet that's awesome.
Yeah. So
also, if you ever make ice cream with like a Ninja Creamy or something, and you take some melted brick and you pour it over your ice cream,
it
hardens like magic shell.
Yeah.
Back in the day when I was a kid, I used to eat that. And it hardens on the ice cream so it's crunchy, crispy, and
it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
When I was a kid, I used to eat those, and they call them drumsticks. They're
those cones.
The waffle cones. And I would always get the one with the caramel at the bottom. Man, those were pretty good. But definitely not keto.
Definitely not keto.
I have to laugh at the junk that I used to eat.
Same. Yeah. Man, I used to eat a ton of Skittles. That actually,
I did too.
My family used to always get me Skittles for Christmas, for my birthday, for any special holiday or occasion. Apparently that was my favorite candy, so I always have Skittles.
Hey, that's in now with the candy diet.
Oh, yeah.
My brother, I don't know this for fact, so hopefully he didn't get mad at me for speaking on him, but I've never had any cavities my whole life, like nothing. I've never had braces, never had nothing. All I've ever had done is just get my teeth cleaned, and I've still got on my wisdom teeth. Like there's plenty of room in there for everything. Like literally the dentist brag on my teeth. And my brother has also never had cavities, but he just turned 31. He's a few years younger than me. And he's not keto and he eats way too much sugar, like obscene amounts of sugar. He's got like a crazy work schedule. Like he'll do, 7 days of 12-hour shifts and then
crazy.
He's traveling a lot. He's a welder. But I think he just went to the dentist or is about to go to the dentist and he's got like a tooth that's bothering him. And he has had a few cavities lately, and I'm like, man,
it's your diet.
It's the diet. But I don't know. We'll see if that's enough to put him in the right direction. We'll see.
I think people just have to realize it. Like, hey, maybe I should change what I eat.
Well, he's like super skinny. He's always been super skinny, and it's like that's almost a hindrance because people that don't have an outward expression of unhealth, they just assume that everything's fine.
Oh, sure.
And it's like, man, if people have like an ailment, like Crystal. She had gastroparesis and all kinds of GI issues, and she looked totally fine from the outside. But like that was the catalyst that got her looking towards better nutrition. But it's like people that have some type of little ailing thing, like a little thorn in their side that opens their eyes to there being an alternative. Like that's kind of like a little blessing in disguise, man. Because then they can change direction and course
for a reason
earlier on, and like have a reason to stick with it.
Yep.
So
there's a lot of people just walking around, kind of coasting through life, thinking that they're healthy and fine, and then they discover actual health and changing things, and they're like, dang, I didn't realize I felt like crap all the time.
That's the thing, man. I had a podcast last week and people kind of like the whole ignorance is bliss thing. They don't know what feeling good feels like. And then when you do, it's like, okay, you're going to do everything you can to fight to maintain it and improve upon it. But like when I was at the hospital for the birth, I went up to grab something from the truck, and there was a guy that was dropping off some Uber Eats. He's probably like an Uber Eats driver or something. And he was in front of me, and he was driving this little Honda Civic. And then I was walking up as he was getting out of his car, and he got out of the car, and like the whole Honda Civic like lifted up. And I'm like, this is a big old boy. And he started, walking towards the hospital entrance, and like he couldn't walk. He was wearing sweatpants that were like sagging, falling off of him because like he couldn't even pull them up all the way. And like you could see everything in the sweatpants because it was all loose fitting clothes, but he has like just legs that were obviously painful to move in.
That's sad. That's too bad.
And I mean, I'm not talking smack to him, and maybe he's killing it and working out after he left the hospital. Who knows? Like, hope so. But people that are that unhealthy, like there's just so many things I take for granted that I do every single day.
I feel bad that we can't just help every single person. Like, just, you don't want to offer unsolicited advice and just say, hey man, I just, would love to make you healthy if you want, but because that's can be taken offensively.
I wish we could push a button and like trade bodies for a day.
And like show them, like, hey, this is how good you could feel. This is how easy it is. Instead of going down this aisle in the grocery store, stay around the outer edges or whatever. Yeah. Speaking of grocery store, getting groceries this past weekend, every time I'm at the grocery store, I end up, you see some of the people that have to utilize those little motorized carts. Mm-hmm. And without throwing judgment, I feel like, gosh, I feel like I should be able to just go up to you and say, without looking too deeply into what you have in this cart, I can tell you that what you're putting in this cart is what's keeping you in this cart. Yeah. And it's like so unconnected for a lot of people, unfortunately. But it's our food system is just so backwards.
Yeah, and it's like it's crazy, man, because like society has it such now where they don't like the idea of labeling food good or bad, and
all in moderation. And for me, it's like, I don't know. I think having food labeled as good or bad is positive because, like, food that I don't even consider food, like fast food, like to me that's just poison. Like I wouldn't put poison in my body. And if you think about it like that, you're less prone to deviate towards it. And it's like, if you think about it, and this was on the podcast I did last week, it's like you are given one vessel to live your entire life in. You've got one body. Your body and your brain are one. You've got one unit. And you wouldn't put, if you had a Lamborghini sports car you spent $250,000 on, you wouldn't put unleaded gasoline in it. Right. If you had to drive that car from start to finish, birth to death, you would take care of it.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, why do people not think that way with their body? Because that is their vehicle for getting through life. And I just don't understand that disconnect, but it's definitely there.
It's there. It's there big time.
But if society embraced the idea of saying, okay, this food is straight up poison, if you eat it, recognize that it's not serving you. Like, I think more people would think twice about what they put in their mouth, but maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part. Yeah,
people definitely have conflicting mindsets towards all that. Everything in moderation is a big movement, and a lot of people in the health and nutrition space are huge advocates for everything in moderation. And I guess if that helps you get toward your goals, then maybe there's a little bit of a place for it. But if it's preventing you from getting toward your goals, then maybe you need to reassess.
Well, the reason that's even there in the first place is because people have taken it to an extreme and had, eating disorders. I've had eating disorders.
Oh, sure.
And I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But it's like removing the mixed diet is what allowed me to break free of that disorder eating.
Exactly.
It's like,
so what helps you get toward your personal goals.
Yeah.
And keeping things in there in moderation would prevent you from doing that.
Yep, 100%. How long have we been ripping, Chip?
40 minutes altogether.
Probably pretty
40
good.
40 minutes altogether.
I want some brick.
Yeah, how about we take a break? You do some, you eat a primal fudge brick. I'll eat one with you.
Okay. Deal.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Till next time, ta-ta for now.
Ta-ta.